In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we praise Him and we seek guidance in Him from our evil actions and from the evil within ourselves. And whomever Allah has guided, no one could mislead. And whomever Allah has led astray, no one can guide. And I bear witness and testify that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and that Prophet Muhammad is His servant and messenger. My brothers and sisters, there is a reality that no one on this earth can flee from. You cannot hide from it. You cannot run away from it. You cannot delay it when it arrives. And it is death. That is a reality that Allah has written upon all creation on this earth. That is a true reality. You may not realize it because you live in an environment that talks about death almost never. That talks about preparation for death, again, almost never. That doesn't teach you to prepare for what comes after death, but rather you live in an environment that tells you spend all of your effort, all of your time, all of your strength, all of your wealth on making this your home. You're going to leave it. It was reported that Isa, Jesus alayhi salam, said, "Who is the one that will build a home upon waves in the ocean?" Which person would do such a thing? He said, this is the reality of the dunya, this life. So don't make it a permanent residence for yourself. This is the reality of dunya, so do not make it a permanent residence for yourself. Meaning that if you built a house on the ocean where there's waves, how long is that going to last? You won't even be able to build it. It's going to crash down, it's going to fall, it's going to spread everywhere, and you could spend so much of your time and effort and it's never going to happen. Secondly, what causes us as human beings to love this dunya so much, to procrastinate, to say, I will do for my akhirah tomorrow and later and at another time and next month, and all of these conditions, all of these prerequisites. Why? Did you guarantee for yourself when death will arrive? No one. No one. It doesn't come to just the poor. It doesn't come to just the rich. It doesn't come to the young only, or the old, or the elderly. It doesn't come to those who live in fear, or those who live in safety. It comes whenever Allah decrees for it to come. So you prepare for this. Many of you have lived in times where you were less fortunate. Many of you come from countries that electricity was a luxury. Clean water was a commodity. Some of you had homes that the roof was made out of leaves. Some of you have come from this. But when you live in an environment that doesn't live that way, what happens? You forget. You forget to be thankful. You forget to worship Allah. You forget to praise Him. Because your house doesn't match someone else who lives in $1 million home or more. Say, I need like that one. And when we live like that, guess who follows us? Our children. Haven't you noticed your own children? They're not impressed by anything today, wallah. They're not impressed at all. Wallahi, for my own self, I remember the first time I tasted shrimp. It was when I was already in my 20s. And for example, you get an expensive food for a child today, I don't want it. I don't need it. We live in a time in which there is a lack of appreciation, a lack of thankfulness. You give them a nice home, nice clothing, and education, all sorts of things, and they don't care. Because of what? Because the lack of principles that we instill in them, the lack of teachings that we tell them to be thankful and grateful to Allah that you have this. Show them wealth, show them poverty, so they can appreciate it. You yourselves, when you fast Ramadan, how much do you love water at the end of the day? It's the greatest thing for you ever. Somebody told you between have this cup of water or have this $100, and you only get to choose one, you're going to choose that water. When people struggle and go through hardships, they realize the ni'mah of Allah. Just like you see in these catastrophes that are going on, the earthquakes and the hurricanes. People just want to be safe now. We don't need large homes. We don't need this. We don't need that. We just want safety. We don't need big expensive restaurants. We just want water. Being thankful and being grateful and teaching and instilling our children with these values and these principles. But how can they be that way if all they ever think about is dunya, hereafter, this life? That's all they ever think about. And we too, we do the same. How do we get rid of that? By remembering that death comes to everyone at any time. Ibn Mas'ud used to say that whatever is on its way is considered close. Whatever is coming towards you is considered close. And whatever is not coming towards you is far away. And he was referring to death, meaning that every day death is coming closer and closer to you. It's on its way, just like if a guest called you and said to you, I'm coming to meet you. What would you do? You'd prepare. What time will you arrive? What do you need me to do? Do you need me to prepare an extra room for you? You're going to come over for lunch? He has all these things that he wants to prepare because it's on its way. Or that person is on his way. What about death? It's on its way. Did we prepare anything from good deeds? Did we clean and clear the rotten sins and feelings that we might have in our hearts? Do we clear them? Are we at least working on them? We should at least work on them. If you can't remove them, work on it little by little. You know what's far? Something not coming your way. You're not going to prepare. So if you said death was not coming, that's far away. But it is. So it's close. And since that is the case, you should prepare for it. How we should live. What's enough? What's the state of mind that we should have? The state of mind that we have should be like Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, one of the companions. He said, or it was said about him, that a man came to Abu Dharr's house. And when he came to his house, he started looking around at the ceiling and at the walls and at the floor. And he said, Abu Dharr, he goes, where's your furniture? He said, where's your furniture? I don't see, you don't have any furniture here. He said, we're going to a different residence, we're moving. He goes, but still, as long as you remain in this house, you should have some furniture. First, before we continue to what he said after, can you imagine living in a house with no furniture today? Imagine what your spouse might say. Imagine what your wife might say. Or for the ladies, imagine what your husband would say if you had no furniture in your home. Now we have all kinds of furnitures. We have furnishings, we furnish things that don't even need furnishing. We start furnishing the walls, start furnishing the bathrooms, we furnish everything. Because, why? It's okay to be clean. It's okay to look nice. You have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Inna Allah jamilun yuhibbul jamal. He said Allah is beautiful and He loves things to be beautiful. But then He talked about what is it to be arrogant, and He said it is batrul haqqi wa ghamtun nas, in which He said arrogance, Doesn't mean that you have expensive things, but arrogance means that you reject the truth and you belittle other people. You see them as small, you see them as less than you. So when he asked him, he said, well, as long as you live in this house, Abu Dharr, why don't you have some furniture? So then Abu Dharr replied, he said, the owner of this house will not allow us to take our things with us. What's he talking about? Allah is the owner of the entire earth. And He's the owner of that house, and He's the owner of my house, He's the owner of your house. He says Allah, meaning Allah will not allow us to take this house with us or to take the furniture with us. So why bother? Let's just prepare for the furnishings that Allah will give us in Jannah. Let's prepare for the home that Allah will provide for you in Jannah. We need to live our lives knowing these things so that we can be grateful, so that it could be easy for us to worship Allah, it could be easy for us to be satisfied with what we have, we could be content, and we could bring our children up upon this. May Allah make us from those that strive for the akhirah, ameen. May Allah make us from those that receive the highest rank in Jannah, ameen. May He make us from those that have a dar, a residence in Jannah, ameen. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى بمنه وكرمه أن يحبب إلينا وإليكم الإيمان وأن يزينه في قلوبنا ويكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا إلا يسرتها يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك الفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار. اللهم أعن إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان وكن عونا لهم ونصيرا لهم واغفر لهم وارحمهم وتب عليهم إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلوا وسلموا على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. وأقم الصلاة.